Grand rising, powerful beings. Do you feel the need to control every situation in your life? Can you just trust the process? Or do you always have to know what's going to come out of the process? This is what I'm going to be talking about. Today I'm going to be talking about letting your need to control the outcome. This just means that it's not putting in the work, but it's not expecting, right? It's not necessarily expecting a specific result. Having faith that the result is going to come, but not bashing yourself for not getting that result the way you envisioned it. It is manifestation at its best. So basically it's manifestation at its best. So basically I'm just going to talk to you about how you can simply let go of your need to control the outcome. So keep tapping in with me on this episode of Ed Talks Daily. By the way, this is a podcast. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Go to edtalksdaily.com, subscribe to this podcast. And if you also want to donate, go to edtalksdaily.com/support and support your boy. With that being said, letting go of the need to control the outcome. What does that mean? Does it mean, letting go of a future that you see can happen for you? Nah, it doesn't mean that. Does that mean letting go of believing? Nah, it doesn't mean that. It simply means letting go of controlling what happens. One of the major things we hear all the time is that we can't control what happens, but we can control how we happen. The moment we really embody that is the moment things work out for us. This is what I mean. The moment we try to control what happens is the moment that it gets out of control. Because we're working so hard to control what happens that we are not controlling how we're happening. I want you to think about that. Because you can't control outside circumstances, but you can actually control within how you experience your life. So the first mindset we got to have is the mindset of this. The mindset says, listen, I know I can't control what's happening outside of me, but I can control what's happening within me. So you act upon what you can act on, and you let go of the desire to control the results. Uncertainty is what makes a lot of people get very scared. Uncertainty can be scary if you don't have faith. Faith is different than expectations. Faith is different. We don't go to God and say, God, I expect you to give me rain. God, I expect you to give me some food, man. Wait. I thought you said you were going to be a husband. I expect you to do that. Where my husband at? Run it up, God. Run it up. Hey, God don't take that. No. God don't take demands from you. Some of us, we're too demanding to God as to the outcome. We have to demand. What we got to demand from ourselves is staying aligned with the divine, with the principles. We have to demand holiness from ourselves, being in one with our vision, being in one with our belief, not waking up and saying, well, I'm manifesting this life, but then saying, look at me, I'm this, I'm that, I'm never going to be that. No. You're not going to say one thing and then think thoughts that's completely against it. You're going to think one thing and you're going to align your thoughts and energies to match it. And in the continuation of that, this is where the manifestation happens. By the way, share this podcast to 5 friends and comment done. All right? Share this podcast to 5 friends and comment done. I'm gonna share with y'all why I'm talking about this. First of all, what I'm sharing with you is a major part of manifestation. The moment you try to control the outcome, listen, Siri, I'm not talking to you, Siri. I'm not talking to you right now. The moment you try to control the outcome is the moment you're going to bash yourself by your own goals. Here's what I mean. I should be there is the worst statement to say. I should be there. No, stop shooting all over yourself. I should. No, I could. When we change from I should to I could, it says, it's not, expectation. It is, this is how I can act. Now, somebody want to know why listening to my podcast is effective. Sometimes in your brain, you're going to get a lot of shoulds. You should be married. You should look like this. You should have this much amount of money. You should. And over time, all of those shoulds it's gonna get you in a shitty pile. In a shitty pile. Excuse my dry jokes. And what that means is, the more you should all over yourself, I got this from Tony Robbins, is the more you're gonna forget what you could be doing. So the mentality is simply this: wake up during the day and ask yourself, what could I possibly do today to enhance the quality of my life? How can I be today that is in alignment with the holistic lifestyle? That is a better way of looking at it. This says, what actions will I take? I'm not even thinking about the results right now. I'm simply thinking of what is my standards and what actions will I take that would align with that standard. Every single day, you take those actions. Here's the thing: there are automatic negative thoughts and there are limiting beliefs that will come up. So what you got to do is, before any of this thing happens, you have to prime yourself to think a certain way. And by thinking in this certain way, you're going to enhance the quality of your life. This is a growth mindset rather than a fixed one. This is what I'm saying here. What can I do today? It's the better question to ask. Not what didn't I do yesterday, and not what will happen tomorrow. What can I do today? Let's say there's been a spirit of procrastination that's been holding you by the neck, and you've been like, yo, I have so much stuff I want to do, but it seems like I can't get myself to do it. I don't want you to even think about the result. I want you to just think about what is the first step that is going to take, and diminish the gap between thinking and doing. Now, there are laws that kind of run our lives. There's a law of diminishing intent. The law of diminishing intent says this: the more you intend to do it, but the more time it takes you to do it, the less probability of you actually completing it. So if you don't actually take the time out right when you think about it to get on it, there's going to be the law of diminishing intent says your intent will diminish. So boom, you start your intention first thing in the rising. You want to keep fueling your intention. This is how you get your day in a positive direction. Now, that's why I tell people all the time, the best way is Rise and Prime, but not everybody's tapping into that yet. Not everybody's going to Rise and Prime.co and signing up for that rising routine so you can learn the true way of getting yourself to a peak state. So the secret is this: you don't want to should all over yourself, have expectations, because what those are going to do is they're going to keep being a stick that beats yourself in the head, saying that you should have been there, you should have done. No. That's going to take away from what you could do. So what you want to do is you want to prime yourself with a belief that I can do it. So before getting into what you could do, you got to get in the spirit of I can, and the spirit of I can gets out of you an inspiration energy. You have to be inspired. You have to be in spirit. And the way you do that is you can't do that if you're all tensed up. If your shoulders are tight, if yesterday's thoughts, if you have unprocessed emotional states, if their thoughts became yours, it's hard for you to do that. So what I teach people daily is how you release the tension from your body and mind, your emotional states, so you're able to now be able to do that. So unless you release certain emotional states from your body, it's going to be hard for you to have the sort of synchrony and energy to really manifest the way you want to, because although you mentally you believe it, your body's still going against it. Your body houses a certain memory. And you might say, well, I am happy, I'm abundant, but your body is not saying that. Your body's saying, no, you are stressed out, you are sad. So what you got to do is you have to align the body with the mind. That's what elevates the spirit. I'm telling you, if you simply moved 15 to 30 minutes right thing in the rising, if you did Qigong, in fact, you'd get to the next level. By the way, sign up for the Qigong class. Try Qigong.com. The secret. But you want to do some sort of movement. Some people, it might be just be breathing. Some people, it might be a walk. Some people, it might be yoga. I teach Qigong. So what you do is you do things like self-massage, dreaming, body drumming, and what that's going to do is going to release certain tension. What Qigong does to an extensive is that it knows that there are emotions that's going with the muscles and emotions that's going with also the organs. So what we do is we help you release those emotional states through certain exercises. You get what I'm saying, y'all? And by doing these exercises, what that will do, it'll get you in a clear state of mind. So now what will happen for you? By the way, if you're watching this YouTube video, make sure you subscribe to this channel, all right, y'all? Come on. So you're saying, yo, first I gotta release my emotions, get myself in a state where I'm letting go of all the tension from the day before, because that will give me more clarity to be able to act. Exactly. So we have movement. You need a moment of stillness so that way you can clear your mind to even have an intention. Intention sets the sail. Every day, if you work through certain intentions and you put forth the actions, you will surely get to the destination. But we're not even, every day, we're not focused on where, listen, don't even focus on the end of the journey. Focus on the step you have to take today. We become overwhelmed when we look at, yo, I have to do something. No. What is the next immediate step? Ask yourself this question. What is the next immediate step that I need to take to improve my health, my physical health? What is the next immediate step I need to do to improve my mental health? What is the next immediate step I need to improve my spiritual, my relationships, my financial? All of it is health to me. What is the next step? One step can be, let me join the Holistic Lifestyle Tribe. Promise you that's a good way of changing the habits. Let me find a community that will get that messages in my spirit as well as I will be able to contribute as I get contributed to. Let me get around people who speak out these positive things. That could be a great step to start. Another step might be, well, let me join this local class. Let me get around a community in person so I can have that. Another one might be, yo, let me wake up tomorrow in 10-20 minutes before I start my day. Let me move and sit still. Another thing could be, or let me listen to audiobook first thing, and let me start listening to The Power of Believing by Claude Bistro. Well, I think that's his name. So I can now believe a little bit more without necessarily controlling the result. Let me listen to a book like How to Break the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. So I can see how I've been being, so I can kind of transform that. How can I act? This is the question. The moment we let go of the desire to control the future is the moment the future stops controlling us. Because we're not living our life expecting things to happen. We're living our life making things happen. Y'all get that? Once you expect things to happen, you're waiting for it to happen. Once you decide how you're going to happen, you're not waiting for nothing, you're happening. And the happening in itself becomes your life, because whether you were waiting for something to happen or you're happening, you're still going to be happening. Except one is you're not here presently, you're thinking about the future. But here's the thing, when our thinking of the future is fear painting mental pictures of hell in our minds, this is worry. This is when we're seeing the future. It's not that we're trying to control a positive outcome, but it's when we're seeing a negative outcome, even though it's not necessarily negative. It's when we're seeing that things will not work out, even when you have no sign that that's the case. This is the worst way to live, is to live in a continuous cycle of worry. Worry creates a loop of lack of not manifesting what you want, because it's literally painting images of what you don't want. If you were an artist, you wanted to create a portrait, you're not going to think about what you don't want to create. What's that going to happen? That's what's going to show up. So likewise, when we worry about the future so much, we're also trying to control the outcome, except we are creating a negative outcome, because the very act of worrying robs your present. 30 minutes of worrying is 30 minutes of that you've taken away from being able to act, because worry sometimes feels like action. So it's either we fear a possible demise, something that may go wrong in the future, or we fear or we desire the success right now that is in store for you. This is when we betray God. This is when we also discredit him. This is when we also say, man, you know what? I say I have faith, but I don't really show it. The moment we say, God, I trust that this will come into fruition, and by God, I'm not just saying this being in heaven sitting, not the typical, But by going within you, and he said, man, God is within me. I have the intuitive power. I have the creation power to create with the creator. I'm co-creating with God. You say, hey, if I'm this powerful, man, listen, I put out my intention. I give it to God. I say, God, this will manifest, and you believe it. And then you just go about and take the actions. And from time to time, you pray to re-solidify that relationship, that pact that you had with God, that pact that you had with yourself. And then you pray about it, but you never have a need to control it. Okay, why should you worry about your days? Why should you worry about what you're going to feed, what you're going to eat? Like the good word says, the birds are not worrying about that. The birds are not worrying what they're going to be able to eat tomorrow. They just sort of have this faith. This is the same faith that you must have. This is what's going to allow you to get going. So every day you're out making a living. You're living, you're making, and you're not just making a living. A lot of times we take our whole lives just to make a living. I've heard this from Sadhguru. All the ants are making a living. All the creatures on this earth is making a living out of their life because they're living to their making. And making their living, they don't make that the biggest part of their lives. They just kind of do it. The ants know intuitively, by that it's hardwired in an ant's DNA to do certain things. And they don't think about, oh, I need to do this, I should be doing that. No. They just waking up every day and going at it. This is the beauty of creatures, is that they live up to their making, and they're not always thinking, how do I make a living? By living up to their making, they automatically make a living. So what I'm saying is, if you live up to the making as a being, that you know why you're here, you got your purpose, you living in that, you're doing the works, you're no longer thinking about making a living, you're thinking about living your life, making a life. Your life shifts the moment you decide that what's most important to you is to make a life worth, is to live a life worth living, not to work so that you can have money to live. The moment you decide you're gonna live to eat to live and not live to eat is the moment you start transforming, because your mentality shifts. You're not trying to control the outcome. You're making the decisions that will make a better current reality. And in your current reality, you create the outcome. I used to want to control how big I would get as a speaker, how will I impact. No, now I realize I don't need to try to control any of that. What I need to do every single day is I need to show up. I need to speak to these plants like I'm speaking to 10 people. Once again, don't try to control the outcome. Take the determined actions, and that's the secret to greatness. You just wake up and say, hey, this is what I can do with my life, and I'm going to do it. You wake up and say, hey, this is the possibilities that are out here available for me, and I'm going to seize the opportunity. You say, hey, today, it doesn't matter how much I procrastinated on this thing before, I am choosing to act upon it today. The moment you realize a change you need to make, let go of your desire to control the outcome and just make the change. When the gap between thinking and doing shortens, your manifestation power increases. When the gap between thinking and doing shortens, your manifestation power increases. Because the lag that it takes between thinking and doing is the belief that is being built or the lack thereof. A lot of times we say, I want to do this, but we don't do it. Somebody said, why don't you think I did it yet? No, because there's probably underlying fear. There's something you're trying to overcome. There's an internal conflict. There is something within you that is obstructing your action. And the moment you could dismantle that is the moment you can act. So now you're like, yo, how do I shorten that gap? Well, we got to do the internal work. Not only do you do the internal work, it's as simple as doing it. Let me see. Let's say you wanted to work out for the last 12 years and you never got a chance to it. And today you're like, enough is enough. I'm so tired of being sluggish. Do you have to go and do the work so you could just start working out? Or does working out can be the work? The second one, working out can be the work if you just start the process. So a lot of times, the gap itself, what it needs to go away is the action. Okay, here's what I'm saying. Somebody says, I have trouble waking up early. Well, you need to get up early tomorrow. They're like, well, I need something to boost. Join Rise and Prime. That's a way. RiseandPrime.co is the most powerful rising routine in the world. Somebody said, well, I still have internal conflict that's stopping me from waking up early. No. If you say tomorrow I'm going to show up to a Zoom meeting at 7 a.m. and you go to holisticlifestyletribe.com, you actually join the tribe, you pay your money, you're going to be there. By the very act of doing that action once, you've broken a habit loop. That is way more effective than trying to do. To do the work is to do the work. It's not to conceptualize doing the work. It's not to think about it. It's not to read and listen to books. It's not to listen to fiend on the podcast. If y'all listen to this and you fiending on Ed Talks Daily and you're not healing with Ed Talk, with Ed, while I talk daily, what you doing? If you watching this podcast and you're fiending on Ed Talks Daily and you're not healing by hanging out with Ed daily, what you doing? What I'm saying is join Rise and Prime. Tap in with me every single day. Do the meditations with me. Do the affirmations with me. Set the intentions. And let's grow together. This is a growth process. A lot of times we try to control the outcome and we don't realize the opportunities right in front of us. Controlling the outcome also has to do with your desire to keep reliving the past and calling it a future. A lot of times we try to control how somebody acts or how they respond to us because of our past pains, our past traumas, our past disappointments, our past way of engaging with other people. We try to control them because we are doing the very thing we don't want them to do to us. Same thing happens in our lives. We try to control results and outcomes, how things will go, because we don't want life to control us. We don't want the circumstances to wait. Here's the thing. Circumstances will not control you if you know you got the power, baby. Circumstances might move you a little bit, but that's because it's giving you a little push. Push. You got to have a different mindset. You're saying, well, this is very uncomfortable. Well, you needed that. Yes, because that's what's going to allow you to grow. Somebody said, well, I don't like this. Well, good. Don't need to control the outcome. Here's the prayer that changes all. I said it all. I said it already. I said sometimes you got to solidify your faith with the divide by praying. And this prayer will transform your life. It's called the Serenity Prayer. Letting go of the things you can't control. Lord, grant me the serenity to let go of the things that I can't control and to act upon the things I can. I'm not saying it the same way it was. And the wisdom to know the difference. Once you know, I can control that. I can control how I am, but I can't control that result. But I know the difference. But yet I'm still showing up every day. What's an example? I can't control that my family is not healing in accordance to my healing and they're not responding to the way I'm responding and not willing to do the work that I'm willing to do. I can't control that. But I can control being loving every day. So every day I'm going to act more lovingly. I'm going to have these conversations. I'm going to be more compassionate. I'm going to understand. I'm going to also know that I was in my own journey before and they're there now. This is where they're at. This is where I'm at. I can't control their growth, but I can keep getting better. I can't control if you come to Rise and Prime, but I can keep showing up. One day you're going to be like, yo, you know what? I've seen that guy. I think I want to check it out. I can't control whether or not people take advantage of some of the stuff that I offer, but what I can control is how much I show up. Here's the thing. You cannot control things outside of you, but you can control your resilience. Now, here's what the glue that keeps it all together. This is why I keep going. Faith. Faith is the substance of having it before you even You don't even see it yet, but you have it. So this is not controlling the future, but believing so much where uncertainty became certain. It's not that I'm controlling what's going to happen. It's that I believe that it will happen for me so deeply that I don't even see what's happening in the meantime. I'm just acting. Okay? All right, let's go back again. I'm not worried if I'm on stage talking to 100,000 people. I'm focused on talking to you four right now. That's it. I'm not worried about that. I'm focused on putting out action, 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 action. So you and your business, I don't want you to focus about how much money you're gonna make out of your business. I need you to think about how are you gonna add value to your customers. I need you to think about how are you gonna grow your vision. What is one step you're going to take to work on the business and work on you? Same thing with your family, same thing with your finances. You wanna save up bread. Yes, you have a goal, you have a vision, and you have faith that you will get there. But all you can do is save. But it's not, I wish I should have had $100,000 then. If I would have, what is that going to do? I should have. Stop shooting over you. But I want the spirit of could, can, and will is so powerful. And that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow doing Ed Talks Daily. So you want to come back to these daily sessions, y'all. Ed Talks Daily, the most powerful podcast about alternative health in the world, y'all. This is going to be number one. Mark my words. It's going to be number one in the charts. You're going to be like, yo, I used to listen to this right in the beginning. Of course it will. Now, do I need to control the outcome? I don't, but I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up and I'm going to release what's in me. I can't control where I'm at in my life, but internally, every day, I've been doing it. I was doing this podcast when I was sleeping in my car, right? I was just talking to people about what I was going through. This was 3 years ago. You get what I'm saying? I was doing the podcast, through the stages. You don't control the outcome. You control how much times you come out. You come out of your limiting beliefs about what you can do. You come out of the limiting thinking. You come out of the doubt that other people has put in you. You come out of the shame and blame and guilt that you kept empowering. You have to come out a certain way of thinking to get into a new way of being. And what this podcast does for you is it allows you to reframe your mindset. This is therapy on the go. What it allows to help with your cognition. So every time you put on Ed Talks Daily and you're moving, it's going to build a new way of thinking. And in this thinking in a certain way, you're going to find yourself enjoying what you currently have more, because you're going to realize that all that you need is within you. And the moment you realize that you are the solution to your problem and you are what you need, is the moment you are tapping into your wholeness. Your wholeness. And that's what Ed Talks Daily is about. So if you haven't subscribed, you haven't left a review, I don't know what you're doing. Go to edtalksdaily.com/support to donate /reviews. Let me know what you thought about this. And this is the podcast. So it doesn't matter if you listen to it audio. If you watch this episode, this is the podcast. So go to edtalksdaily.com /reviews. Leave a review. And if you leave a review, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to shout you out. Make sure you put your @name so I can shout you out. I'm going to shout you out on the podcast. Plus, I'm going to shout out your business, if you have one, and put the link in the podcast description. And this is pretty cool, pretty awesome. Why? Because it's going to be number one. So one of these days, you're going to own a little piece of real estate on a digital podcast that will sit there for years and years to come. So leave a review and you'll be included in Ed Talks Daily. So make sure you do that. And if that doesn't get you up, don't even do it for that reason. Just do it because you support me. Because I've been supporting you on the daily. That's why this is called Ed Talks Daily. So remember, y'all, this was lit, all right? Wasn't it? Was lit? I always get lit when we do this, because whatever. You have the unlimited power in you, y'all, to create your life. The very actions you take today is creating it every day. Everything you do, this very moment. Do not worry about what the future brings. You don't have to worry about what the future holds for you. Just focus on being present right now. Because by that very presence, your presence is a present to the world if you present it well. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying, right? So remember, let your light shine, don't hide it, don't dim it. Thank y'all for watching here. You have the unlimited power in you to achieve whatever it is that you want, to create the life that you can create, to create the future that you can. But all you got to do is focus on now. Have faith that it will work out and letting go of your need to control the future. And until that happens, the world forever miss all your talent, all your gifts, and all the great things you got to offer. So remember, let your light shine. Don't hide it. Don't dim it. It's the Holistic Motivator. Tapping out here, you dig? Thank y'all for watching here. Peace and love to you. All right.